Okay, hi. I feel like the last few videos, well, actually all of them, have been very much like how I think philosophical and not really action based. And he's intrigued by the rain. Um, and I think like when I first started getting into self development, if you will, I'm going to blanket term at that, but when I first started getting into self development, I was like, no one tells you how to do it. And I think there's a lot of industry jargon and there's a lot of beating around the bush. And I just fucking hate that because I'm like, okay, I'm in desperate need to change my life. Like, can you literally spell it out to me? And whilst I'm going to try and spell it out to you, there's a lot of different, like, people learn differently. No. What's this? People learn differently because everyone is different. So when I'm about to explain, it's a principle, it's a concept, it's a strategy. And whilst I give you steps, it's not going to be exactly the same for every single person. And the emotions that you're going to evoke is going to be different for every single person because every single person is just different. And yeah, like going back, what I was just saying before is that I feel like when I felt lost and I didn't know where my life was going and I was anxious and depressed and I just didn't know what I was doing with my life and I was stuck. I just didn't know what to do and I didn't know what information to use because there is so much information. Like, I think self-help is amazing, obviously, because it's what I do now. But there is so much information and it is so easy to get caught up in the, oh, I haven't done it correctly or I haven't done it like the way that she said or I haven't done it the way that he said. Like, there's just so many different fucking ways and versions to do everything. And I can't remember if I said it on here or somewhere else, but there's 8 billion people in the world. There's 8 billion different ways to live your life. And there is no right or wrong. However, there are strategies to make you feel better, to make you feel more free, to make you feel less anxious, to make you feel more powerful, motivated, and confident, because ultimately I truly believe that that's what everyone wants, to feel good in their body, to feel good in their mind, and to feel free and to do the things that they love. But that actually requires trial and error and understanding what you do and you don't want. And that can be really hard and that can be really confusing. And I want to speak about vision boards in particular in this video because there are a lot of people that do it. I used to do it. And I used to do it really fucking wrong. I used to do it and I laugh at myself because it's like I don't want this video to shame anyone, to be like, oh my God, you're doing it wrong. Like I was saying, there is no right or wrong, but there is definitely strategies if you want to actually live the life that you want to live. So I used to get a collection of random photos that I liked the look of and that I really wanted, and you know, I kind of thought that that was that. And I had like probably fucking 100. And I got them off Pinterest, I printed them, and then I stuck them on a board. And that was that. And I was like, fuck yeah, come end of December, I'm going to be all of this. And every single New Year's Eve came around and I was like, bit butthurt. I was like, okay, I'm still not where I want to be. And I low-key feel like I'm getting worse. And there's a reason for that, because finding photos and printing off photos and, you know, doing the right things is only going to get you so far, because vision board really is priming your brain. And when you can use your brain biology to understand how we're wired and how we can actually frame and prime our brain to focus on things and use intentional action to get what we want, to create the life that we want, to create the the dream that we want, because it all honestly starts in your mind. And I used to think change your mind, change your life was so fucking cringe. And so like, give me something tangible. Like, what do you mean change your mind? Like, how? And I think for so long I was like, that's just honestly bullshit. And it's usually the people that have, you know, lucked out. I use this so much because it's like, whatever. But people that have lucked out, or that have like, that have all these amazing things, and I was envious, I was jealous. I was like, okay, well, you can only sit there and say this because you have all the things. And it's like, well, yeah, of course, because they've done X, Y, Z to get those things. And whilst I don't also want this video to be like, you can sit on the couch and manifest your way into a new reality, because you fucking can't. Oh my God, why did it come out like that? You can't. In my opinion, this is why I teach discipline and neuroscience and manifestation, if you will. Because I believe a mix of science and spirituality is what will get you the result that you want. And I don't think that you can sit on the couch and do nothing and repeat affirmations and manifest your way into a dream life. I don't believe you can do that. However, if you actually want to create a vision board, vision boarding is a tool, it's a technique. It's not one strategy that's going to get you from A to B. It's supplementary. It's like supplements when you eat like 80% whole foods. It's just additional, right? And it's a tool to help you. I have no idea where he is. And there is a way to do it to make it more efficient for you. And if your goal is to live out the photos that you find that you like, the first thing that I would look at is get really clear on what you want. And when I say this, like, before you even go looking for photos, before you even fucking spend 10 hours on Pinterest, I want you to think and even write down, even journal, or however you like to do it. But write down, what is it that I want in my life? What in my life do I currently have that I don't like, or I don't want, or makes me feel like shit? Or really get clear on emotions. This is going to be an emotionally charged method, strategy, tool, if you will, because emotion is a driving factor. Like, you need to be emotional about this stuff, and you need to sit in the discomfort. And if your life is shit right now, I want you to sit in that. And I want you to, another day, another bug. I want you to sit in the shit, because if you don't know what problem you're going to solve, you can't solve the problem. And I think I used to avoid a lot of this because I didn't want to feel any more hurt than what I was already feeling. And this isn't to make you suffer more. This isn't to make you feel like you're a piece of shit and the world's ending and you can't do anything right. No. This exercise is to show you where the gap is. And when you know what you want, to the very last detail, like, I want you to picture, what does your bank account look like? What are you wearing? Who are you with? Where are you living? What kind of things do you do on your everyday? Like, what habits do you have? What things do you enjoy? And even when all of this stuff is coming up, if there's things that, and I'm going to say limiting beliefs, this is such a fucking industry jargon. If you don't know what limiting beliefs is or are, it's like that I can't do this because XYZ. I can't do this because I don't have the money. I can't do this because I'm too young. I can't do this because I have a dog. I can't do this because my partner, whatever it is. Those are limiting beliefs of why you think you can't do something. And everyone has them based on their own conditioning. Everyone has them. And when you're going through this exercise and when you're asking yourself, okay, so what do I actually want? I want you to have the awareness to clock, like, what limiting beliefs are coming up for you. What reasons do you think you can't do it? You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not motivated enough. You're not outgoing enough. You're whatever it is. Like, I want you to be comfortable getting uncomfortable, I want you to sit in that, and I want you to just list all the things down that are coming to your mind and be like, okay, so why can't I do that? Like, genuinely, why can't I do that? And when you've really nailed down who you want to become, where you're living, what your bank account looks like, and honestly, like, go through a day, like, vision a day, because your mind is so fucking powerful. When you can, like, visualize what you want and reverse engineer that, which I'll talk about in a second, but when you can visualize what you want, that's, I read something in the other day. I really shouldn't have written it down, but it was like, oh fuck, I really should find this. It was talking about desire and how desire is your future self telling you which way to go, essentially. And I really believe that, because I don't have the same goals as you. You don't have the same goals as me. And whilst they could be similar, sure, every single person has a different timeline. And this is kind of where I mix science and spirituality, because I'm definitely from like a science background, and I believe, you know, understanding the brain biology and neuroscience and how to actually use your biology to work with you is so crucial. But then it's also like, when you can understand that not everyone is designed to do the same thing, and it's not everyone is designed to live out the same life on the same timeline, then you can actually accept that your life isn't going to look the same as anyone else. And you're going to be okay if you feel behind, and you're going to understand why things aren't happening on the same timeline as they are for you, for someone else, because you're not supposed to live the same life as everyone. So I digress. Again, when you can get comfortable, one, sitting in your discomfort and acknowledging the things that you don't want in your life anymore. Two, getting really clear on what you do want. And again, use as many as your senses as you can, like your mind, like your eyes, like what does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that smell like? What does that, write down as much as you can. And then when you have those, when you have clear, you know, they could be career goals, they could be lifestyle goals, they could be physique goals, they could be food, family, wealth, literally anything. Like if you want to start a business, if you want to go overseas, whatever. Get really clear on that, and you can have more than one. When you have nailed that, the next step then is to go and find your pictures wherever you want them. I go on Pinterest because I love Pinterest. And this is where you want to link to your emotion. This is where you want to really anchor into your emotion and everything that you've written down before and felt. I also want you to do this in one sitting, because when you can really go deep into your pains, your whys, your emotion, your desire, your dreams, everything like that, it is so much more empowering and motivational to use all of that and to harness all of that. And it takes a lot of energy to actually get right down deep into that. So when you're there, stay there. And something I like to do as well is make sure you don't have anything planned after. Like, create enough time for yourself, put on your favorite music, light a candle, whatever the fuck. Just make it like something you feel free and safe enough to be yourself and to express yourself to yourself. So when you're finding the photos, I want you to pair them with the emotions and the goals that you have expressed to yourself before in the written part of this. And the way I like to do this is, if I see a photo, it needs to make me feel something. And if it doesn't make me feel something and it's not aligned with my goals, it doesn't go in. Even if it's a nice photo, I don't give a fuck. Like, it doesn't go in if it doesn't make me feel something. And you will know what it feels like, because you'll feel it in your gut. And your gut and your brain axis are like, it is one. Which maybe I can talk about in another video, but you will feel it in your gut, and there's a difference between intuition and, you know, emotional, what's the word? Irrationality? I don't think that's a word. let's go. Let's go emotional desire versus lust, because I feel like lust doesn't need to be a sexual thing all the time, but it's like when you know something deep down, you know that it's meant for you, it'll make so much more sense and it'll just feel calm. Like it'll just feel grounded and it'll just make sense. So when you have those photos, and honestly, I wouldn't go more than, I would cap it at like 30 to 40 tops. And that's at a push. Like you don't actually need that much. I think sometimes when you have more, it just gets confusing. So go 40 max. And when you have these photos, make sure that, like when you have them all together, make sure they make you feel something and make sure they align with the goals that you've written out before, and you can actually visualize yourself living that. Because if you can't visualize yourself living that, then there is no point. And what this does is this, we have a part in our brain called the reticular activating system, which essentially is a filter section of our brain. And because there is so much stimuli in the environment, like when you think about it, when you do anything, when you go outside, even like inside, there is so much to look at. There are so many sounds, there's so many smells, there's so many different things that our brain is trying to process all of the time, and it just doesn't have the energy for that. So what this exercise does is that it focuses on particular things that we want to focus on, right? And it kind of gets rid of all the extra bullshit. And there's this example which has, like, you'll probably know it if you're in the self-development world, but it's like, you know, when you want a new car or something and you have the model, you have the make, you know exactly what it is, you know exactly like why you want it, how you're going to feel when you're driving it, da da da. And then all of a sudden, when you've made up your mind, you see this car everywhere. And it's not because there are extra cars. It's because your mind is now like wired and focused on it. I can't tell if I'm hot or not. I'm distracted. Yeah, your brain is now wired and primed to see this car more often because it's your attention is on it. You got anything to say?
No.
Okay. And it's the same with our goals. Because when you don't have a clear pathway, when you don't have a clear goal, when you don't have a structured plan, it's really, really, really easy for our brain to get distracted on anything, and on anything fun, on anything like quick dopamine hits. And this is why a lot of people don't actually achieve their goals, because 1, they don't know what their goal is, 2, they don't know how to reverse engineer it, and 3, they don't actually live by it every single day. And this is why it's really important to make sure all of your photos actually evoke emotion. And people can be like, you're just making a fucking vision board, but it actually goes so much deeper than that. When you can align your emotions with your mind and with your desires and science, you can actually reverse engineer all of your goals and actually start to create the life that you want by the micro decisions that you make every single day. So where am I up to in my steps? We have the photos. You've got your goals, you've got your photos. Yeah, and then essentially what I do is like have a little ritual ceremony. It's so fun. You literally just, it depends how you want to do it. I actually like to print them off and stick them on an actual board because I just like to do that. I used to put it on my phone as my background because then I'd see it all the time. But I actually like to put, my board's actually in a storage unit at the moment, which kind of sucks. But I used to put it at the end of my bed so I'd see it every single day. And you don't have to fucking say any affirmations. You don't have to do any rituals. You don't have to do a fucking prayer, whatever. You don't need to do any of that. If you've done the process correctly and you have anchored into your emotions and you know what you want, why you want it, and you're actually intentionally going about your days in alignment with that, then even just the sight of these photos will trigger your brain to, 1, focus on these opportunities, and 2, remind you every single day of what you're doing and why you're doing it. And consistency will always trump any strategy, any quick fix. Like, there are no quick fixes. When you can actually figure out who you want to become, reverse engineer it, and act like that person today, that is how you time collapse. And I wish someone had fucking told me all of this in a non-bullshit way, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, because the amount of time that I wasted, like, writing all these affirmations and like making all these vision boards and buying into a lot of industry bullshit, whether that be products, whether that be apps, whether that be meditations, whatever. Again, each to their own. You can have your own opinion, but I truly believe that so much of that is bullshit. You don't actually need any of it. And when you can truly sit with yourself and understand what you want and why you want it, that is how you can get super clear on your dream life. And consistency will always be king. It will always be king. And it's like, when you can understand what you want, why you want it, and get really clear on that, then that's really everything that you need. And I think that's everything. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else I need to say. But I think vision boarding is a really cool tool. Don't spend 2 years on it, because that's how people procrastinate. That's a coping mechanism. That's a self-sabotaging behavior. Don't do that. Literally set a timer or do one afternoon. Like, it's raining right now. It'd be actually the perfect time to do one. Set an afternoon, make sure there's no distractions. It's you, your time only, and have fun with it. Like, life is supposed to be fun. And whilst this is self-development, it's supposed to be fun. And there is a journey, there is a process, and enjoying the process is a really fucking hard skill to learn. And it's something I have to remind myself of all the time, because it's like, we aren't put here to constantly achieve, to constantly impress people. We're here to live, to love, to enjoy creating. And if someone had told me that I would say this, I probably would have been like, the fuck is she on? But I think it's really true. And yeah, it's honestly so freeing to get to that point of being like, oh, I don't actually need to hustle my entire life. I can just enjoy this Sunday. Okay. I hope you got value from that. And as always, message me if you want to, or if you have questions. Would love to hear from you. Okay, bye.